WWE has been on an absolute tear over the past year and a half, selling out arena after arena, setting both attendance and live gate records, and doing so at a rate that is unprecedented. Even during the Attitude Era, we did not see the degrees of sellouts that we are seeing in 2024. We did not see the degree of popularity both in the mainstream and as well as the level of merchandise sales that we are seeing in WWE today. To put it simply, WWE is a machine and they do not seem to be slowing down. And as we approach January, so too do we approach a brand new era for WWE, because everything is about to change with this Netflix deal. Netflix has bought the rights for WWE Raw as well as international rights to all WWE programming, including PLEs, including Raw and SmackDown, and all other events. So if you're around the world, the likelihood is you are going to be watching WWE starting in January on Netflix. And with this unprecedented deal also brings the potential for a long desired change. Over the past year, WWE, since announcing the deal, has stated that they believe that Raw, when it goes to Netflix, will become a bit of a more edgy product. Triple H, even on a recent episode of the Pat McAfee show, stated that he believes that there are going to be some restrictions lifted that were currently in place during the USA Network deal. So not only are we approaching a mega deal that has made WWE billions upon billions of dollars and set the future of the company up for success, but we're also getting a long-awaited change to the potential creative for WWE's flagship show. Everyone, when we think about Monday Night Raw and the peak years, we think of the Attitude Era, when no stone was left unturned, when there was nothing stopping the wrestlers from going out there doing some of the wildest things, whether it be the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club, Stone Cold Steve Austin raising hell, or whatever the hell else went on in the Attitude Era. There were no restrictions to that show. And while there is no promise of a return to the Attitude Era and some of the honestly disturbing lengths that WWE went to entertain the fans, what this will allow WWE to do is open up the creativity that is available to them. You don't need blood in every segment. You don't need cursing in every segment. You don't need the ability to do wacky and wild things that you can only do in a TV 14 setting in every segment. But in the segments that deserve blood, as we saw with the return of blading in Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood 2024, or in segments like The Rock when he eventually returns, you can well expect him to be cursing up a storm on Monday Night Raw. Those moments, you could argue, need that level of creativity and that level of heightened maturity to them. Because in those moments, that's when doing things like that matters. When you have a blood feud between two of WWE's hottest stars, a little bit of actual blood goes a long way to telling the fans how serious what we're seeing in the ring is. When you see someone as charismatic as The Rock go out there, do what he does, lay the smack down on Cody Rhodes and talk about Mama Rhodes till he's blue in the face, not bleeping him out or going to an all-black screen when he's saying something will allow the fans to understand, wait a minute, this means something. The stakes just got raised, because if he's this mad about it, I should be taking it seriously, and it serves as a bit of a wake-up call to some fans who might say that, well, WWE is boring and stale and it's the same in-ring style or it's the same type of promo. It changes things up and it freshens things up in a way that WWE has honestly been missing over the past decade or so. So when you have the potential to do these things in a moderate way, it allows for these moments to mean more and to resonate better with the fans. And that is what I think is going to change. alongside that, you also have the potential for Monday Night Raw to be as unpredictable as it's ever been. Not just because of the factors that I laid out before, including blading and cursing and all these things, but also the length of the show. One of the biggest criticisms of Monday Night Raw in the pre-Netflix era has been the 3-hour length. And we have seen them now experiment over the past couple of months with a 2-hour long edition of Raw, and that has been met with diminishing returns. Triple H even discusses how he isn't used to booking a 3-hour Raw, and he's had to change some things. But under Netflix, this allows WWE the opportunity to be more flexible in the length of the show. Whereas 3 hours may be too much, and 2 hours may be too restrictive for the amount of story that WWE wants to tell, they can have a 2.5-hour Raw one week, go to a 3-hour Raw the next week, and then go back down to a 2-hour Raw the next week. They are no longer restricted by whatever's coming up next on USA or USA Network in one region saying, well, we can only go until this time. On Netflix, what Netflix says goes. And if Netflix is good with Monday Night Raw being a 4-hour show that night, God forbid, that is what's going to happen. So the ability to make Raw unpredictable as far as when's it gonna end and the fans not knowing, that right there makes Raw even more of a must-watch show. And we're already hearing rumblings of Raw on January 6th on their debut edition at Netflix. That is going to be a major show. There's rumblings that John Cena, The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and many of WWE's top stars are going to be there. And there is going to be a heightened expectation and a heightened sense of priority being put on that show. Not only because it's a big money deal, but because for WWE, it marks a changing of the guard. WWE moving their flagship show over to streaming, which still to this day is untested waters when it comes to live weekly television programming. And we are going to hear numbers that come out from Netflix that I'm sure are going to be astronomical. Whatever the global numbers of Raw are, or whatever the 3 days after stats are for Monday Night Raw are going to be astronomical. But it puts to end the idea of us paying attention to the ratings in the weekly way that we do. And with AEW doing a very similar thing for Dynamite and Collision being simulcast on Max, I think we are going to see wrestling companies use metrics like ratings less and other metrics such as retention, watch time, and many other factors more to gauge their worth for their product. So a lot is changing in WWE and in professional wrestling, but one thing that's guaranteed is that Monday Night Raw on Netflix sure is the start of a new era.